I'm talking about this file uploading process. In a web page, you click this choose file button, you choose your media and you can upload the file to the server. Now, during my initial phase of development, I didn't have any idea like how to handle this kind of file uploading things. So in this video, I will first tell you the two mistakes I used to make, and finally we'll discuss how you can handle file uploading properly in your application in 4 simple steps. Alright, mistake number 1. So I was building an application and there's a feature where I had to store the avatar image for the user. So the other attributes for the users like first name, last name, email addresses, I was storing those in a MySQL database. So I thought I have to store the image as well in the database, and I really did. So I stored the image as a blob type in the MySQL database. Database is the last thing you should consider for your binary data like images or videos. This is the first mistake. Mistake number 2 is very soon I found out that the maximum blob you can store in a MySQL database is 65 kilobyte. At that point I knew there must be a better solution, there must be another way. The way is storing the file in the server's hard drive. It was a simple nodejs application. I was directly storing the file into the server's hard disks. Now for a small application this is fine, but I got a better solution for you. So before going into the steps, let's discuss the concept. Let's say in the backend, we are having an Node.js application. Now, the simple solution can be from the front end, someone is uploading the file. We are collecting the file in the backend. And instead of saving the file in the server's hard drive, we can save the file in a dedicated object storage service like AWS S3, because your server has a storage limitation but S3 does not, and S3 is much more optimized for this kind of operations as well. But this solution has one flaw. You're uploading the file twice basically. So first you're uploading the file in the Node.js server and the server is uploading the file to S3. So it would be a much better solution if we can directly upload the file from our front end to the S3 bucket. So in this video, let us discuss how we can actually achieve that. Alright, step number 1. If you don't already have an AWS account, sign up for one and you will get a tons of free stuff for the first 1 year. In the second step, we will be creating an S3 bucket. So this is our AWS console, and in the top search bar, just search for S3. Go to the S3 console, and S3 is a global service, right? So you don't have to select any region from here. So click on this create bucket. Though you don't have to select any region from here, AWS is asking the geographical preference for your application, right? So if I'm selecting Mumbai or Asia Pacific on, then it will create the S3 bucket in the Mumbai. Like all the hardware will be placed in Mumbai. Okay, so I'm just selecting Mumbai because that is closer to my application. Let's assume that. And you have to give this bucket a name. Now, this bucket name is globally unique. Okay, you can think like bucket name is the domain name for your bucket maybe. All right, so this has to be unique. So for now, let's put YouTube file upload test. Rest of the configuration is fine. Just hit create bucket and a bucket has been created for you. Okay, so you can click on this view details or you can click on the bucket directly from here and it will show all the details for you. All right, so we have created an S3 bucket. In the third step, we will be creating an IAM user and we will use the credential of that IAM user to talk to our newly created S3 bucket. Now by default in AWS, all the service access is blocked. So from the outside internet, you cannot access your S3 bucket. That's why we need some sort of credential to talk to the bucket. Now, if these things are not making any sense, then also you can just follow along. You don't need the full IAM understanding just to access an S3 bucket. That being said, let's head over to the IAM console and let's try to create a new IAM user. So we are in the main console again. In the search bar, just type for IAM. And now we are in the IAM console. So from the left panel, you just have to click on this users and hit create user. Okay, and you have to give this user a username. Let's call it file loading application. Now it's not mandatory that an IAM user must be a person. It can be another application as well. So that's why we are calling this user as file uploading application. Okay, hit next. Now it's asking you to give this user some permission. What you can do is you can add this user to a group and whatever permission you have added on this group, that permission will be applied on this user as well. But we want to attach a policy directly. So here just search for S3 and there's a permission called Amazon S3 full access. So you can just give this permission to that user. All right, hit next and hit create user. So we have successfully created the user. If you click on the view user, you can see the user here. Now we'll be creating a secret key and access key for this user. And with the help of this secret key and access key, we will be able to use the S3 bucket from our Node.js application. You can click on this button, create access key, and it is asking you like for which purpose you want the access key. You can just select any one of this. Command line interface is fine, or I'm just selecting application running outside AWS. All right, hit next, create access key, and it has created an access key for you. Now we just have to copy this access key and secret key, and with the help of this access key and secret key, we'll be able to access our S3 bucket. Now this is very sensitive, so you should not share this, and after this video I'll be deleting this user anyway, so I can show you the secret key here. No problem with that. And one more thing, the secret key will be visible for a single time. So if you lose this secret key, you have to regenerate the access key and secret key. Okay, so you can just download the CSV file, or you can copy this to value somewhere safe. So we have an example application, so we can just copy this to value, and let me just create a comment here. So this will be a simple Express.js application, and we'll be using this to value there. So let me just copy the value here. And in an ideal situation, you should put these things in an environment file maybe, and you should put that in file in the git ignore as well. But for now, let us just put this as a comment in our main index.js file. Alright, so the user has been created, and we have created a secret key successfully as well. Now we have created our S3 bucket, and we have the proper credential for accessing the bucket as well. Now let's understand some of the concepts, and after that we will head over to our simple Express.js application, and we'll set up everything. Now in AWS, all the services you can access over HTTP. All services have a proper REST API endpoint, so you can talk to these services through any REST client like Postman, curl, or if you're in a JavaScript environment, then you can use the fetch or Axios library. The only thing is you have to send some authentication and authorization related stuff alongside the request. Now to make these processes simpler, AWS has a lot of pre-built libraries for different languages. So in the fourth step, we will be installing all these necessary libraries in our simple Express.js application, and we'll set up the route handler. Alright, so this is our simple Node.js application, and we have installed the Express.js library, right? And also the body parser. And in the index.js, you can see this is a simple boilerplate code for Express.js. So we are just importing Express and body parser, and we are creating a simple post route called file upload. And whatever request you are sending to this file upload, we are just sending back file saved. So simple string, right? And we'll be listening on the port 3000. So this is a hard-coded value. Anyway, and in the previous step, we have created these two secret, and we'll be using those in a moment. Now let us install all those necessary libraries. So the first library we need is called AWS SDK / client S3. So you can just do npm install. So this is the library name at AWS SDK / client S3. We need another library that is called AWS SDK S3 request presigner. All right. So we need these two library. All right. So let us quickly install these two libraries. Perfect. The installation has been done. Now let us discuss how we want to handle the file uploading process. If we want to upload the file from the Node.js application, then we can just use a class called put_object from this client S3. But that is not our goal. We want to upload the file from the browser or from any front-end client. But the problem is we cannot share the access key or secret key with the browser as well. So whenever from browser we want to upload anything, we will call our Node.js application, and the Node.js app will give us a special temporary URL. And with that URL, we'll be able to upload the file into the bucket. So these are the steps. Browser will call our backend app. Backend app will generate an upload URL. It will send back the upload URL to the browser, and the browser will directly upload the file to the S3 bucket with that temporarily upload URL. And this URL is called a pre-signed URL. Okay, and this is a very important concept in AWS S3. All right, so in this handler, we will be handling everything, right? To generate a pre-signed URL, we need the file name as well. Okay, so the browser will give us the file name. Let us access the file name from the body. Requested body, and body will be a JSON. So to handle that thing, let's use body parser.json as well here. Body parser.json. Okay, perfect. So first thing we have to do is we have to create a new S3 client. So we can bring the S3 client from this AWS SDK client S3, and we have to pass a couple of parameters here. The first one is the region. So whatever region you have selected during the S3 creation, you have to mention that here. So for my case, I have selected app south on. So I'm just mentioning that. And now there is a credential object, and in the credentials object, you have to pass this access key ID. Again, I'm just hard coding this value, but you should not do this. Okay. You should read this value from the process.env maybe. And there's a secret access key ID, and that is this one. Perfect. Now our S3 client is ready, and we can actually publish different command with the help of this client. So let us create a new command, and that command is put object command, right? So command is equal to new put object. So we want to put an object into the S3 bucket, object command, and that is also coming from the client S3, by the way. Okay, put object command, and this will take the first argument will be the bucket name. And to get the bucket name, let us go back to the S3 console, and the bucket name was YouTube file upload test, and you can check the region from here as well, that is app south on. So we have already mentioned the region. Now just type that bucket name, and finally this is the key. So key will be the file name. Okay, so whatever file name the client is sending or the browser is sending. Okay, so we have the command, we have the client. Now if you want to upload any file from this nodejs environment, like directly from the nodejs, then you can send this command with the help of this client, and you can like there's a body property. In the body you can send the binary data, but we don't own that. We want to create a pre-signed URL. So let's create the URL, and there's a function called get signed URL. Okay, so that is coming from that other library, S3 request pre-signer. Okay, get signed URL. Now the first parameter we have to pass is that client we have created and the command. Okay, now here if you create a command for, let's say, get object command, then it will create a pre-signed URL for get object. So if you want to download an object from a private S3 packet, you can get a pre-signed download URL as well. Okay, but for our case, we are just only creating a upload URL command, and you can pass some additional parameter here like expires in. So I already mentioned that this will be a temporary URL, right? So you can pass a expires in value, and that should be in seconds, I guess, the number of seconds. Yeah, so let's make it available for 10 minutes maybe. So after 10 minutes this URL will be invalid. All right, so we have the URL, and yeah, this function is returning a promise. So let's just avoid this. Let's make our handler async. Perfect. So we have the URL. Now let me just return. So this is some express.js stuff, response.json. Into that we are just passing the URL. Perfect. So if I go through it again, we are having a post handler that is /file upload, and we are collecting the file name from the JSON body. We're creating a client, we're creating the command, and creating the pre-signed URL, and finally we're just sending back the URL. So now let us open our Postman and let's try everything is working or not. So to do that, let me run the server first. So node index.js. Let's go to our Postman, and we're going to create a new request, and this should be a post request, and it is for HTTP localhost 3000. And let me copy the route as well. File upload. Perfect. All right, and in the body we are expecting to send a JSON, and in the JSON we should send a file name. Perfect. And file name, let us just pass test maybe. So if I hit send, I should have a pre-signed URL, and with that URL we'll be able to upload any file to our S3 bucket. So hit send, and this is the URL, right? So HTTPS YouTube file upload, and this is the S3 bucket, and all these credentials and everything. So this credential, this signed credential is generated by this secret key and access key. So let me copy this, and this will be valid for 10 minutes. Okay, you can see the seconds here as well. Anyway, let me copy this URL, and let me open another tab. Let me paste it. And to upload anything to S3, you have to send a put request, and in the body you can send a binary. Okay, so hit select file. You can select any file. So I'm just sending a test video. Now this file name is not important because we have mentioned the file name previously. Remember, like when we are creating the pre-signed URL, we have sent the file name. So our file name will be test. Okay, so let me try to upload this video. Hit send. So I have got a 200. Okay, now if I go to the S3 console and go to the object section, hit refresh, Yeah, there's a file called test, and the size is 4.1 megabit. So this is the process of uploading anything with the help of pre-signed URL. Alright, so that's all about this video. If you want to learn more about this kind of stuff and AWS serverless in general, you can check out this 13 hours long course on serverless technologies. I will put the link in the description as well, and I will include the GitHub repo link for the Express application as well. And as I've shown you all the uploading process with the Postman, I will include a sample HTML file, and you can find the client-side JavaScript code there so that you can upload with the pre-signed URL from your browser environment as well. And don't forget to check out our courses in courses.learnwithshoward.com, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you.